It's the weekend. It's the week after the weekend in which Liverpool beat Napoli. Their penultimate pre-season game. Got Torino on Tuesday night, the last one now. But Sean's done us a nice wee agenda here, hasn't he? The scousest agenda I think I've ever read, which included the record of our pre-season, which currently reads: played 8, won 6, drawn 1, lost 1. Which doesn't sound too bad on paper.
I'm really surprised with this agenda. It's really in depth by Walsh. He usually acts as if he just, he's like, he likes the footy, but like he's not too bothered about like the tactics and getting in depth about it all. And there's quite a bit that we've got to go through here. He's done really well. I think like in terms of the pre-season, 6 wins there. It says, according to Walsh, it could be right, could be wrong. Let us know in the comments.
Sounds possible.
But I think not just the results. We've seen pre-seasons where Liverpool have done well and got the wins throughout the pre-season, and then coming into the new season, it's not quite happening. I think this time, it's not just the wins; it's like the feeling within the club. It's you got that from America and you got that from Ireland as well. That whether it's the players, the manager, or the people working for this football club and the fans, everyone's sort of pushing in the right direction. Everyone feels that positivity at the minute. Like, I can't remember positivity like this going into a new season, and that's born out of the performances in pre-season, wins over United, City, thumping Napoli, the new signings and how they sort of bet it in, the Instagram stories. Like, this should be its own part of the agenda. If anyone hasn't seen the Instagram stories of the players,
I don't know where you find them these days. Twitter might be your best port.
Yeah. Just search Van Dijk karaoke, and it's Van Dijk. Keita was good on the karaoke.
I think Van Dijk was my MVP.
Yeah. It feels as if he's done it quite a few times before. He just does it at his house.
He was just cool as well. Like, Shaqiri's was the funniest because Shaqiri was just all over the place, but Van Dijk was like as cool as you'd imagine.
Yeah.
As composed singing karaoke as a defender.
And Shaqiri was as cool as you'd imagine doing karaoke. Pretty much. I think he did Three Little Birds, but just from the videos and from their Instagram stories, you could see that everyone's having a laugh and everyone's enjoying each other's company, and you can see that whenever they're commenting under everything that they do on social media. There's just this bond at the minute between the whole of the team. And we've joked in the past in this video about me reading Honigstein's book, but about Klopp at Dortmund. But I go back to it quite a bit because there's so many things that happened in that book during Klopp's successful stint at Dortmund that are happening now. So Matt Hummels talks in that video about how he'd never been part of a team that had such a bond, like to the point where the players are going on holidays together. They were on holidays in the same resort as Klopp and had nights out with Klopp, the manager, and that just doesn't happen. You can
sort of night out, that.
Yeah, oh my God, it would be. But you can see that bond now, and it's not just that. It's not just that this team are better or are going to be better than the sum of its parts, because like its parts are unreal. If you look at it, like the players that we've added in terms of Keita, Fabinho, and even someone like Shaqiri, who I know we're going to get on to, has impressed us in pre-season as well. So there's loads to be excited about with this Liverpool team, and we should all be absolutely bouncing into that stadium on Sunday against West Ham. But 3-0 up first, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that has stood out in particular is the way that the players are playing on the football pitch. And like you say, you mentioned the Instagram stories, just the way they look to be clicking as a team and gelling. And the Napoli result was a big one for that. It looked like the new signings in particular were bedding in really well. And Sean's put on the agenda here, on his very scarce agenda, he said, have you ever seen a better pre-season? But before they said sound, that in it, as in about the record. And the record is sound and it's good on paper. And there probably have been pre-season in which Liverpool have matched that record, probably playing worse teams than the likes of City, United. But as Craig says there, in terms of the mood, probably never seen a better pre-season. And one of the players who sort of sums it up for me, Craig, at the moment is Daniel Sturridge, who's absolutely flying.
Yeah, I'm like, we spoke on the both live shows in Belfast and Dublin. They've spoken about Daniel Sturridge, and that seems to be a hot topic. And I am ready to have my heart broken by Daniel Sturridge again. Like, I am all in with him again. And I think I've said in one of the videos before, but like at Chester, just as he was about to come on, Wolsey said to me, like, imagine he has a brilliant pre-season, and he has. He's like, every single game, whether he started, whether he's come on later on, he seems to have just influenced the game, and whoever he's come on for, he seemed to have a better performance than them. He's just made the game better for Liverpool, and you see that again at the weekend. Gets a goal, which it comes back to him. It looks as if he should just slot it in, but like I think someone said in the post-match show after that it's so easy just to like get under the ball and for it to go over, and he just slots it in the bottom corner. He just looks as if he's having a lovely time again. He looks as if he's enjoying his football and enjoying being back at Liverpool. And John spoke to him for a couple of minutes in America, and he just seems so relaxed. I think it was on Talking Reds, where he just says, I'm just not worried. I'm not getting caught up about whether I play, how many minutes I get, and what, where I play, and he's just going to enjoy his football, and probably the 6 months at West Brom.
I think they're a bit of an eye opener for him.
Yeah, probably taught him that it's not as it's never going to be as good at being Liverpool, and he's got one year left in his contract. It makes no sense to sell him now. Just have him as that extra player, that extra body, and someone who can come on and influence the game straight away. And like that assist for Mourinho. Mourinho still has a lot to do, but he's in this right back position. He's so deep, and he just plays the ball. I'm sure you've seen it, sprays it across the pitch. It's unbelievable. So I'm so excited about having him back around the place, and it seems like it's a different Daniel Sturridge, and it's always the caveat of injury prone, and we can't rely on him, and whenever we need him he's not there, and blah blah blah. But let's just see and take it for what it is at face value, that Daniel Sturridge has had a brilliant pre-season, and we should all be excited about having him around the squad. Yeah, and you mentioned there the expectation, and it does feel different around Sturridge now. It feels like we're not expecting him to be the main man anymore. When you say you're ready to be hurt again, I think people can either go one way or the other. Either expecting him to be a complete crock and never play for Liverpool again, or they're expecting him to come in and get 30 goals a season like he did in 2013-14. But he's not that player anymore, and I think if you have that expectation that he isn't that player anymore, and that he can just do a good job for Liverpool, which he can, because when you think about Solanke and Ings only getting 2 goals between them last season, whatever Sturridge can offer this season will surely be better than that. Definitely. But I think just one thing, like Walshy's put on the agenda 5 goals in pre-season, which is brilliant, but it's not just the fact that he's been scoring goals, has it? Like I've lost count of how many assists he's made, so you can see that he's sort of he's happy to play this slightly different role, because I think in the past, like you said, we've relied on him as a goal scorer, whereby he plays in last man and we play him through, and he's got all the pace, and now maybe he doesn't have that, and he's learned to adjust his game and play deeper, and you can see he can influence things from deeper, and it's exciting that we might. It's not just that we're seeing Daniel Sturridge this season, that we might see a different Daniel Sturridge, one that's adjusted his game for the good of the team. Yeah, one of the new signings who particularly impressed the weekend was Xherdan Shaqiri. I know you've just been re-watching the highlights in the office there to see what sort of balls he was playing, but Walsh has put here that he's playing as a 9 or a 10, but he just seemed to be all over the front 3, to be honest, which I'm banging into. I like the fact that Klopp sees him having this versatility, but also he just looks a completely different player from what he did at Stoke. Yeah, he's gone from playing around people like Charlie Adam, and I can't even name any more Stoke players, to be honest, but playing around lads like that to now Salah and Mane and Sturridge, and he looks as if he's got something. He's got the bit between his teeth. I think he's got a lot of people to prove, and you can see that in his eyes almost when you were watching the goals and the celebration after United. You can see that he's this player with something to prove, whereby people have almost taken the piss out of his career a bit, that it's almost like back to front, where he's gone from Bayern Munich and then down to Inter Milan and then to Stoke and so on, and now he's at Liverpool, and he's at one of the most exciting Liverpool teams that I can remember, and he looks as if he's just slotted in perfectly. And when we were looking at signing him, or there was talk that we were going to sign him, loads of people seemed to think that he would be back up for the front 3. I think if you're talking to Shaqiri, he's saying, "Nah, mate, I'm in. I want to start. I think I can
play
start
anywhere. Really, he could play in the midfield as well."
That's the really interesting thing is, against United in America, he seemed to be playing almost like a 10. He seemed to be so deep, and it was Coutinho-esque, the kind of things he was doing, little balls around the corner, the fact that he can take men on, and the fact that he's scoring goals as well. And I'm so excited about him, to the point where I almost wonder if we all want an extra, we all want one more signing, don't we? We always do as fans, but I almost wonder if it's got to the stage with Shaqiri where they've seen him in pre-season, they've had a look at him, and they've actually got a far better player than what they expected to get. Yeah. And that might be the case, that they've gone, well, maybe where we saw Fekir playing, we see Shaqiri playing. And the fact that he's played in the 9 as well is interesting, I think, because it's not something I would have sort of thought we would get from him. But then whenever you look at you look at the assists he made for Sturridge against United. Like that's proper number 9 hold up play where he's holding it in and with his arse out and then you know, giving it to Sturridge, and it's going to be a very interesting season. He seems to it could be another one where we sign just kind of like Oxlade-Chamberlain, where we're told we're signing this particular kind of player and we think we're signing this particular kind of player, and then Klopp gets a hold of him and suddenly we've got this whole new beast.
I think that's the case with a few Klopp signings, isn't it? And one of the things that sort of stood out with Shaqiri in particular, and Sean's put it down on the agenda again here, is that he's divided opinion, and one of the things that I think he's divided opinion over most is his mentality and what people perceive to be his mentality, but particularly at Stoke, what people saw of that, but also at Bayern Munich and Inter Milan. But when you think about the majority of the signings that Klopp's made, he's signed these sort of strong characters and these lads who are genuinely like nice lads and want to do well on the football pitch and want to give something back to the supporters. And I think Shaqiri must be one of them, otherwise Klopp's not buying him.
Definitely, and another thing, Klopp seems to like to sign either captains at their team or national team, or the best player at their team or national team. And Shaqiri's Switzerland's best player, and that interests me. I think you're right. Whenever you look at him, whenever you hear him talk, he's got this arrogance about him, he's got this confidence about him. Like, you know, I go back to America again, Gibbo talking to him, and Gibbo says to him, like, you know, have you ever scored surely that's your best goal you've ever scored, is it? And he looks at him just and says, no, I've scored loads like that, which he did in the Euros. And like, you know, he's got this, again, like I say, he's got this bit between his teeth, but he's got this confidence in his own ability that he's not coming to Liverpool to make up numbers. And when we did the Shaqiri special a couple of months ago, one of the journalists, I think it was the Stoke journalist from the Stoke Sentinel, said that, you know, he gives off this vibe of arrogance and overconfidence, but in actual fact, his teammates love him and his teammates really enjoy his company. So, you know, it could be one of these where, you know, you always heard it with Anelka or the sulk, but I didn't really ever see. He seemed to always thrive in teams, and players seemed to like playing for him. So. Yeah, I'm just so excited about him. He seems like this bonus that we've signed this lad that we thought we were getting a certain thing where he'll try and shoot from everywhere, and you know, he'll be frustrating and hot and cold, and in actual fact from pre-season he looks as if he's a lot more sort of rounded and someone that could, you know, we'd be happy to see start against West Ham.
Yeah, and from Shaqiri onto another new signing, Alisson Becker made his full debut for Liverpool at the weekend with the start in that game. I thought he was actually quite shaky in the first half. There was a couple of moments where he was sort of thinking he could probably do better or be a bit more assured. But as Walsh wrote down here, he's got a 100% clean sheet ratio, which is good. But one of the things that stood out to me, Craig, and I think Glenn Price put it on Twitter the other day, and it's a really interesting point, to be honest, is that I think it was when Glenn was watching the players in training the day, so he noted that they were trying really hard to beat him, that his stature in the goal meant they were going for the top corners, and they were trying really hard to score a good goal to get it past them, and that's what it's going to take. Whereas it feels like when you've got someone like Karius or Mignolet who's got that sort of reputation behind them, you'll see people just having sort of pot shots from anywhere in the hope that it's going to go past them. But with Alisson, it feels a bit different.
Definitely, that's something I always think with David De Gea as well. Like I remember United playing Liverpool at Anfield. I think it was possibly last season or the season before, and Jordan Henderson has this brilliant chance and he tries to put it in the top corner and it goes wide or it goes just over, when in actual fact he just needed to get it on target to test the keeper. But you always think, because it's De Gea in front of him, one of the world's best, he's thinking, I have to beat this. And I loved hearing that from Glenn, the fact that, you know, already our own players are thinking like that. And I think that he just needed to get through that game without making any big mistakes. And I know that sounds mad with a world record goalkeeper, but there's going to be so much pressure on him because of what's gone on before him. And to get the clean sheet, you know, we saw with a little indication into his ability passing the ball, and I think it's going to be interesting when he does come to when he plays at Anfield, and you're going to have lads trying to close him down, because Klopp was talking about how calm he is. And the reason he's calm and the reason he holds on to it for slightly longer is so that the forwards are drawn towards him and that their team is forced to push up, and then he can play balls like the one he did to Salah, which I think eventually ends up being turned into Milner's goal. So I think we're just going to have to we're going to have to learn to live with this, and sort of, you know, learn to trust this goalkeeper, that he's going to hold on to it for a little bit longer. He's going to be looking to, you know, to spray balls about, and like, we haven't had that since Pepe Reina. Really, we were promised it with Karius. We haven't really had that. So I'm excited about him. I'm just excited to have the world's record goalkeeper in there, and someone that we with everything that has happened with Karius and even Mignolet to a certain extent, I think we deserve a goalkeeper, and it feels like the final part of the puzzle. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, and Alisson is obviously Liverpool's most recent signing, and we're going into towards deadline day. And our deadline day is on Thursday. Obviously, the window closed before the season starts this year, and it's looking less and less likely that we will sign anyone. The Fekir rumours, even with all the stuff that was coming out in France, are starting to die down now. But there's a couple of other teams who are having a bit of a worse time, and one man in particular who seems to be having the worst time is Jose Mourinho, who's been having another pop at Liverpool's transfer policy. And I know it's something that you're really into, Craig.
Oh yeah, like he's cracking, and the season hasn't even started. And like, how many times has he mentioned Liverpool in his press conferences, and how many times has he made excuses already? And it's there's some sort of disconnect at United at the moment between him and Ed Woodward, whether it's around signings or whatever. But he's just coming out with some bizarre stuff, like, I'm talking about Liverpool buying anyone and everything, or something along those lines, and it's like, mate, that's essentially what your transfer policy has been for the past few years. And no, that's not what we're doing. Every single player that we've signed has been has been looked at over the period of years. They've been talking to them over the period of however number of months and sometimes years. It's carefully planned. And I wonder if there's a little bit. Well, I don't wonder. I know there's jealousy there. Where I'd imagine he'd love Liverpool's business this summer. He'd love Woodward to have brought in the players that we have. He just makes me laugh. He's slowly looking as if he's in the decline to insanity. He gets madder in every press conference. And the quotes around Alexis Sanchez last week after playing us were just
wild,
bonkers. Where he says, like, would you want to play in this team, or I wouldn't pay to watch this. And it's like, compare that to what's going on at Liverpool and the positivity, and even the Martial thing, where Martial gets fined for being with his young son, and then you see that the complete contrast with Jurgen Klopp, where Jurgen Klopp's saying, it's a little Kleiny for Nathaniel Klein, he can have as much time as he wants. It's just...
And that's one of the things that stands out, isn't it? When you talk about the other clubs signing players, and there are a couple of clubs who have done a bit of business, albeit sort of here and there, and a lot less than Liverpool. It's more the mood which sort of sums everything up at Liverpool, because at Manchester United and at Chelsea, it doesn't feel like there's really much to go off there. Chelsea have obviously got this new manager in as well, and he's not had much time to do anything. There's a lot of players who are probably still sort of feeling a bit of resentment from what happened during the Conte era. Willian in particular, with his emoji game at the end of last season, was probably one of my highlights of the season, where he emojis Antonio Conte out of the picture. But,
really good.
But there's still a lot of them things lingering around, and City and Arsenal obviously getting off to a new start, but you don't know how that's going to go. City are probably the only one who you say matches Liverpool in terms of mood, but even then it's not. It doesn't feel like it's a sort of as a whole picture. It's just that Guardiola's winning things, and I think they're happy as long as they're winning things, which is fair enough. But at Liverpool, it feels sort of like an on and off the pitch affair.
Yeah, and it's so difficult to win 2 Premier League titles in a row as well. Like, we've seen that over the past few years. I think, like, City, you see them against Chelsea, and like they're going to be some force this season. But we can definitely compete with them. And Chelsea seem to only have had their new manager about 3 days in my head, like, which is absolutely mad, considering we all knew Conte was going to be leaving. And like you say, they've got the Willian thing to sort out. They've also got Courtois and Hazard, who we aren't even sure if they'll stay as well. So there's just I think Liverpool have managed to do their business fairly early, get everyone into pre-season, get them playing a few games together, and like I say, everything's really positive, and everything's pushing towards starting from minute one, from the minute we play West Ham, getting the win, and sort of putting as much pressure on City as early as possible. No European games in August this year as well, which is good. No qualifiers, so look, we're in brilliant shape, and we should all be excited. And I know other fans are so envious of what Liverpool have done this season, and the positivity that we have, and that's why Mourinho was talking about it, is because he's worried. That's never have I known so many opposition fans to be talking about Liverpool in the way that they have been over the past couple of months, because they know that the Champions League final wasn't the end for this team, it's only the beginning. And roll on Sunday, because I honestly can't wait. I know I've said it about a million times in this video, but I'm absolutely buzzing for the new season.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, looking at the Reds transfer business, we're going to be doing a live stream on deadline day on Thursday, so look out for that. There's a free show being recorded today, and obviously there'll be lots more throughout the week. So